Hello and welcome to Module Zero. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful that you have taken the decision to venture into this world, into reality architecting. And I'm so excited to show you around and to give you the foundation and the tools that you need to change the reality that you experience to one that is more aligned with how you feel inside and how you would like to experience life. In Module Zero, we're going to cover the coordinates and what ontology is. If you want a bit more of the background of how we got here, you can start with the Reality Architecting Starter Kit and the 3 Simple Steps to Change Your Reality. Both of those share a little bit more of the fundamental why or how, essentially, of what this is. They're quick reads, and there's a video on the lore about me and how I got here and my story. And you can see that in the videos and the document linked below. We're going to jump straight in. We're going to keep this as short as possible to help you get on your way. The goal of this whole entire course is to give you the tools, give you the techniques, give you the concepts and the exercises that are going to help you to shift the mechanics and the system that creates the reality that you experience. We have all heard of just change your mindset, just change this, just do this. And if you're here, you've probably been on the self-improvement kind of trap. The goal here is to give you the how, not just tell you what you need to do. We're going to show you how those things are changed, how your subconscious works, how your nervous system works, and give you the practical tools that you can then use to make that change. And you're not going to need to buy anything else apart from pen and paper and use some free kind of software if you need in order to get this done. So what do we mean when we say coordinates? The whole goal of this module is one, to ground yourself into where you are and what your life looks like and all the pieces that make up your life, all the ingredients of what your life is. And by doing so, we get a clear view of whether or not we like it, whether or not we want to change some things, whether we want to get rid of some things, whether we want to add some things. And to do that, you need to know where you are. The 5D space is like any other space, like a 3D space. You need the coordinates. If you want to get an Uber, if you want someone to come and pick you up, you have to send them your location. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find out which timeline we're on, really and truly. And that's going to help us to figure out what we need to do to get onto the timeline that we desire to be in. Think of it as a mini map. If you've ever played Call of Duty, you understand this. At the corner of the game, there's a mini map that kind of grounds you and tells you where you are in relation to the map. And that's what ontology is going to help us do, is give us that view, that mini map that's going to show us where we are in relation to our life and the things that are inside of it. So I'm going to first start off with showing you the reality map, which is a form of ontology that me and my partner created. This style is like I guess like a flattened version, and we're going to show you another version which is a bit easier to do, but you can do it however you want. But I'm going to speak to you a bit about the goal or the purpose of this. So the ontology and how we use it is essentially a description of a thing and the things inside of that thing that make up that thing. So you could use it for your life, you could use it for your business, you could use it for reality like we've done here, and it helps you to take big concepts and to map and identify the moving pieces, how they relate to each other, what they do, and define them. And then that gives you a really clear view of what that is. And once you have that clear view, then you can do something about it. If you try to do the action before you understand it, then you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. In this map, what me and my partner done is we created an ontology of reality and how we understand it to be, and our view. And so at the top we have God, no dogma, no specific religion, just God, source, the all, etc., etc. As source, right? You can see it as like the sun. The sun is like a source of energy, and that's what God is to us. And that source of energy lets off rays, which becomes your soul, and which is another form of like a mini sun, and it has its own energy, and that energy is what powers our existence, our reality. And our reality is then made up of our inner world, which we experience internally, which is made up of our nervous system, our mental area, physical area, the states of being, our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts, our ideas, all those things exist inside of our inner world, which exists inside of the outer world, which is made up of people, of events, of nature. And that's how we've described reality. And you can see how a subject that maybe takes a while or debate or all these things can be simplified and can be actually really condensed into a digestible form via ontology. And I don't need to sit here and explain things to you. You can just see it and it kind of makes sense instantly. And I think that's the power of ontology, is that you can break down big concepts, big businesses, big entities, and you can make them visual enough and digestible enough for anybody to understand and wrap their head around. And we can then use that map to diagnose things, to understand where something's going wrong, where something needs to be upgraded, where something needs a change. And it's really an incredible and simple way of making sense of things. So I like to use Whimsical, which is the platform that I'm using right now to show this. You can use Miro, any kind of whiteboard, online whiteboard, infinite canvas style thing, or you can do it by hand and then transfer it to digital, which is something that I do often. And that's the beauty of reality architecting, that we're not, you don't have to buy anything else. You're using things that are innate, intuitive, and all you need is pen and paper, really, to get started and to make that change and make those differences. So we're going to get on to the first exercise. Hopefully that's all made sense to you. I don't want to make this video too long. I think you understand the purpose of ontology, what we're trying to do here. And now we're going to get stuck into exercise number 1. Exercise number 1 is creating your personal life ontology. And so the easiest way that I've found to do it is by starting off with yourself in the middle, branching off to headers of the important things in your life, and then that's going to help you to create then the subheaders, and then it's going to help you to understand the things that you need to do relating to that thing or that project, which is then going to give you a clear view of what the bottlenecks are in your life, what are the things that you're not paying attention to, what are the things you are paying too much attention to, etc., etc. Now, you could start this, and I would suggest starting this by doing a brain dump. So just writing a list. You could take a note. You can write a list of all the things that are in your brain, of all the things you need to do, of all the projects that you have committed to, all these things, and just starting there and then figuring out what's important from there. Or you can start by already knowing what's important to you. And for me, that's what's helped me kind of get rid of a lot of shit that isn't important, just by going, what do I really care about? And for me, that's my family, my business, and my internal operating system, the things that I need to do, the things that I need to learn, the beliefs that I have, etc., which we cover in module 1. So stick around. Module 1 is going to give you all of the juicy bits of our internal OS, which is really, really cool. That's your first exercise. I want you to create the ontology of your life. I want you to figure out the ingredients of your life, the things that make it up outside of you, the projects, again, the people that are in your life that are important. And maybe they're not important to you, but they are important as in like they have weight and consequence in your life. And the goal here is to just get a clear view of what is. I don't want you to do the ideal yet. I don't want you to create that dream life just yet. That comes in a separate module. What I would like you to do is figure out what actually exists right now as is. And that's going to give you a very clear view of what your life is like and why it is that way. From that, you're just going to get so much clarity. I can't stress enough how much clarity this is going to give you and the importance of doing it. That's why I suggest that you do a module a week, because it gives you time to really play around with the method and the process. And I don't want you to rush anything. One module a week is perfect. You can watch it again, do the exercises, and wait for the next one. Once you've done your ontology, you've mapped out all the bits that are connected to you, all the subheadings regarding those bits, and then you can start to figure out what is the to-dos that come from those bits. So like for me, I had these to-dos that stemmed from that thing. This is another benefit of ontology mapping, is that once you've mapped out what exists in your life, it gives you a really easy space to go and figure out what you need to do based on those things. So that means if you have multiple spinning plates, if there's multiple things that you're trying to keep up, it's just a great and easy way to ground yourself in what you've got going on and then figure out what you need to do. And sometimes you're going to see that there's some things that have no to-dos, that need to-dos, and then there's some things that have too many to-dos that you need to get rid of. So it's a really, really cool multi-purpose method and thing that will help you greatly in multiple aspects of your life. Once you've done your ontology, I want you to also do your weekly schedule. And again, this isn't an ideal weekly schedule. This is the schedule of your life as is right now. I want you to figure out where the heck your time is going. And you can do it this way. You can also do it on Google Calendar. I'm going to show you an example of what that looks like by time blocking. Again, we're not looking to create time blocks. We're just trying to see where our time is being blocked right now and where it's going. So if you have commitments like studying, if you have commitments like working, map out on your calendar, or you can do it again on Figma, on Whimsical, however you like to do it. Figure out what times are being taken up by things, and that's going to give you a clear view of what time you actually have free. That's going to show you where the time has gone and where the time is. And if you have no time for yourself, then there's something wrong. We need to figure that out, and we need to make some changes in that regard to give you some more free time for you to be able to explore these concepts and to just give you space. If you don't have space, if you don't have time to just think and to consider and to contemplate, then there's not really going to be any chance for you to make a change and to think, hey, maybe I could do this differently. Maybe I can take this route. Maybe I can go this way. And so your ability to timeline jump is going to be heavily stifled by your schedule and by where your time is going. So that's exercise number 2. These 2 things are so important because they're going to give you clarity. They're going to tell you what's important in your life, what exists in your life, and where your time is going. And this is the perfect foundation for all the things that are to come, because if this is not dealt with, then all the other things, like we mentioned, you won't have time to implement. And you won't have the space to implement. So right now we're just going to look at what we're dealing with, and then we're going to figure out what we need to do about it. There is an optional exercise here, which is another, again, all these styles are very similar. You're just connecting things that are related to each other. But what this does is connect both of these things. So if you would like, you could do the ontology of your life, and then you could do it this way, which breaks down the time in its own place. So you can see the projects that you have, or the clients, the roles that you have in each of those commitments, the responsibilities that come from those commitments, the time that you spend on those commitments, a breakdown of where that time is spent. So if you have 4 hours doing this thing, where are those 4 hours going? Then you can figure out the return of the time invested. And then you can start doing your to-dos based on those things. Again, this is optional. You don't have to do this. It's just another view or another way that you could do it to give you an idea of what it is. And why this is helpful is because here, once you've done that, you can tally up the potential revenue you should be making. Actually, I want to make one thing clear. Your return on time invested is not always money. Sometimes it is on other non-tangible things that you are receiving for participating in that activity or working on that project. So it's just something I wanted to clarify. It's not always money. Sometimes it can be notoriety. Sometimes it can be for your portfolio. Sometimes it can be fun. Sometimes it can be passion. All these things are things that you are being returned for your time invested in that project and in that responsibility. But the reason this style of mapping is really good to do at the beginning, or any time that you want to reset, any time that you want to go, hey, I don't like where my life is going, I don't like where it is. This is a great exercise to do to just give you that clarity. And you can then see the total amount of time you're spending on something, the total amount of time you have free, and the time left over for then you to budget and allocate in different places. Both of these things are so important because they really do make up your life. Like, your life is made up of the people that are in your life, the things you're committed to, and where your time is being spent. These things are so fundamental to what your life looks like, what your timeline is, the reality you're experiencing, and that's why we've covered it in module 0. That is module 0, This is, again, so important to do. This is the foundation. Please do not skip this step, because everything else will be so much better if you can just figure out what the heck is going on. It's going to give you so much clarity, and this is the foundation. And that's why, again, I want you to take a week doing this, because once you've done it, I want it to land. I want you to process what your life looks like and what it's made up of. If you're just constantly going from module to module to module and you're not letting anything process, then it's going to be a lot harder for that thing to stick. And so focus on module 0, focus on your coordinates, build your ontology, build it however you like, pen and paper, sticky notes, be creative, just have fun, figure out what your life is made up of, define it, define those things, define what they mean to you. This is another important part of ontology, not just figuring out what things are and how they relate to each other. You need to figure out what each thing means to you. And the reason that's important is because we mentioned in other articles, etc., that 2 of our greatest functions as human beings is our ability to define, to add meaning to things, and to decide. Once you can define something, you can then decide what to do about it. So ontology and everything we're doing here is about identifying what things are, defining them for ourselves. What does that mean to me? You know, it's not just a job. That job that you have is not just a job. What does that mean to you? And it can mean something good or bad, right? It can mean, like we mentioned here, the ROTI, that is the meaning of it. Like, what does that project mean to you? What is it giving you? That's what I want you to figure out this week. I want you to figure out what's in your life, identify the things that exist in your life, define what they mean to you, and then figure out where your time is going and what time you have, realistically. And that's going to help you and get you on your way and give you the skills, give you the tools. That's going to lead into you being able to time block. That's going to lead you into being able to organize your life a little bit better. Just by doing this exercise, that gives you a little taste of what this means, and it'll prepare you for the modules to come. So again, thank you so much for being here. Make sure that you are engaging in the community. Make sure you're reading the posts, commenting, engaging with other people in the community. We're going to have a call every month, a group call. The first one is at the end of May. Obviously, if you're watching this past that 2026, then just have a look at the calendar and you'll find the group calls that we have. I'm so excited for you to be there. I'm so excited to hear about how you experience the modules and what they meant for you. So make sure you comment in this article or in the forum about how you found the material. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. And I'm so excited for you and your journey as you become an architect of your reality, which we all are and we do unintentionally, but now you're going to be able to do it intentionally, and that is amazing, and I'm so happy for you. So yeah, amazing. Well done for getting through this, and I will see you in the next module. Peace.